In this video we'll work on Ruth chapter 1 verses 17 and 18. Generated text is identical. Okay, bury. Okay, Abraham buried his wife's body in the tomb. So we need to provide the preposition in the destination. And I was buried by people there, and I'll be buried there. Okay, was buried. Okay, this is a passive. Okay, this was inserted by layer 7, row 1. Let's go look. Layer 7, okay. This is for past tense. Let's mark this. This is for past passive. And let's copy this row and add another one for future. And we use target tense, future. Okay, the perfect form is right. Here we want will be. And let's change this one. And I'll be buried by people there. And I'll be buried. Okay, by people. Okay, if we look here, implicit is optional agent of passive. And in English we can delete those. So let's write a structural adjustment rule. This will be a noun phrase issue. Okay, insert by into the agents of passives. Let's add a new rule. This will be based on noun phrases. Okay, this is an optional agent of passive. And we want to delete the entire noun phrase. Okay, generated text is identical. I swear. Okay. If you look closely here, okay, this is very rare, but it does happen occasionally. We, at all the word, we've changed the argument structure of swear. Here in the rule, we have an agent and a destination noun phrase, an instrument, and a patient clause, an object complement clause. Here we have a destination, but we recently changed the argument structure of swear. If you look up in the examples, swear takes a patient noun phrase. In the past, it took a destination because, like Abraham, Ruth swore to Yahweh. So we're using a destination. But we pair swear with promise. So anyway, the bottom line is these days, we have swear taking a patient noun phrase. Now, if you didn't notice that, let's say we don't notice that. So we want the destination to be on _1, and we'll put the preposition to. Instrument is _2, and we'll say by, like by Yahweh's name. She swore to him. Okay. We want the complementizer that. This isn't subject raised. The servant swore to Abraham by Yahweh's name. We could use by or with there. Let's go with by. Okay, now that rule won't work because there is no destination noun phrase. Okay, so we see that it didn't work. Now we can look more carefully and see there's a patient noun phrase. As I mentioned, this is very rare, but it does occasionally happen. So let's change this from a destination. Okay, there's a warning. You have already set some of the features for this constituent to particular values in the output structure. If you edit this constituent's features in the input structure, you'll need to re-enter the new feature values in the output structure again. Do you want to continue? Let's say yes. So we're going to change this to a patient. And now we have to go back and set this to _1. Okay. I swear to the Lord that I'll stay with you until I'll die. Until I die. For until clauses, if it's future tense, we don't really say, I will wait until you will come. We just say, I'll wait until you come. So in an until clause, we don't need future tense. If it's past tense, we do use I waited until she came. But we don't say, I will wait until you will come. So if it's future tense in an until clause, we want to negate that. We want to get rid of that future tense. So that's a target tense aspect mood rule. And right now, okay, these three features here are the input, and these last three are the output. We can add more features, and we need to here. We need to add the type of adverbial clause. So I'm going to say included features, and let's scroll down. Adverbial clause type. So now there's a new column. So now these four are the inputs, and these last three are always the outputs for these rules. So let's add a new row. And we're going to say in an until clause, until, if it's future tense, then make target tense and form just a bare stem. And let's enter our comment. I swear to the Lord that I'll stay with you until I die, not until I will die. And now if we look here, see that last line. Features change from target tense and form equals future to bare stem infinitive by transfer grammar, tense aspect mood rules, row 24. That's the row we just entered, row 24. If we click here, we see our comment. Okay, generated text is identical. Going back to, this is very rare. It's hard to notice when we change the argument structure, but these days that's very rare, so you don't need to be too concerned about that. Okay, let's move on. Keep, to keep a promise. Okay, we won't need this. Punish. Punish, we won't need this rule. If I keep this promise, the Lord should punish me a lot. If I don't keep this promise, the Lord should punish me severely. Okay, here we use an adverb, a very generic, bland adverb, much, meaning a lot. We can write collocation correction rules that improve this word, that choose a better target word based on the verb. So let's do that. Let's start here. I'm going to right-click, edit this concepts collocation correction rule. And we can scroll down to Ruth 117. But these references here aren't part of the rule at all. Let's change whenever punish is modified by the adverb much. Let's change it from a lot to severely, which we don't have yet. So let's say new word. Or will punish me severely. Clause final. Okay. So now, any place in the Bible where punish is the verb and it's modified by much, it will be changed to severely. Well, there are many other places. So these references, they're only here to help us find the one we're looking for. So right now we're in Ruth 1:17, so we scroll to Ruth 1:17, and there it is. But throughout the entire Bible, whenever someone is punished much, it will be changed to punished severely. Okay? So let's try that. Okay? If I keep this promise, if I don't keep this promise. Okay, so the polarity here is negative. This was handled by layer 4, row 1. Layer 4, row 1, conditional. Uses the stem. So let's copy this and say negative conditional. If I don't keep this promise, okay, we don't need the rest of this. Okay, we still want the stem. In preverbal, we want don't. Okay. Generated text is identical. That's the last sentence in this verse. Generated text is identical. Let's save it and go to the next verse. Okay, realize. Nebuchadnezzar realized that God rules kingdoms. So we want the complementizer. Let's insert a complementizer here. Generated text is identical. Argue. John argued with Mary about the book. So the argument that we mark as a patient needs with in English, and the destination takes about. So Naomi stopped arguing with Ruth. So she stopped arguing with Ruth. That's fine. Okay, that's the last sentence in this verse. Generated text is identical. Let's save it. And we're ready to work on verse 19.